this show on the road. Thank you guys for hopping on to today's daily sales huddle. Today is Thursday, which means it is a partner Thursday. So we let our LOs invite their agent partners on to join us and get better with us. So if you're an agent here, welcome. Thank you for coming. We do this all the time. So please come to more. It's fun. We love having you guys on. And today we're joined by Nash Paradise talking all about sales math. It's something we've talked about a bit here at UMortgage, but we want to share our knowledge with everybody on the call. So if you see someone from your team not on this call yet, shoot them a text, send them a Teams message, let them know we are about to begin and they don't want to miss this one. But first and foremost, Activities Leaderboard powered by Tempo. Tempo is our sales activity app where you could track what you're doing, your phone calls, your social posts, everything that matters and will lead to more business. And we have a little leaderboard for you guys. And then first, we have Joey I with 182 points. Second, Andrea Erickson, 182 points. And third, Glenda White, 179 points. Huge shout out to the top three. I love when the top three are so close in points. It makes it really interesting. But way to go, Joey I, for getting the top spot there. In fourth, we have Troy Firkenstad with 143. Fifth, Mitch Gudry, 124. Sixth, Chris Bronstead, 110. Seventh, Josh Clayson, 106. Eighth, George Pruitt, 104. 9, Justin Huff, 110. Taylor Alvarado, 100. Way to go to everybody for getting the job done yesterday and tracking your activities. Quick reminder for our UMortgage LOs, it is continuing education season, making sure you are renewing your licenses. As a company, as a whole, we are at 74%. I threw out a challenge the other day that I want us to get to 100% before December 1st. So don't let me down, guys. Please make sure you're doing this. Making sure we're getting to 100% as a company by December 1st is the goal, but the sooner, the better for this one. Another thing we do here at UMortgage is we have a play of the day. Every single day, we're providing our team with a quick play that they can run and to help them grow. And today's play of the day is all about our theme day, which is past clients, and making sure you're letting your past clients know about their home equity options. A lot of people have a lot of home equity. They don't know they could do something with it. So use this script, give them a call, let them know that there's possibilities for them, and you want to set up some time to talk with them and discuss what could work out for them and put them in the best situation for them. So make sure you're checking out this play of the day, running this play, and then tracking that in Tempo. And I hinted to it a little bit earlier, but we have theme days here at UMortgage, and every day we try to focus on one specific theme. And tomorrow's theme day is VIPs for Fridays, and that's making sure we're staying connected, staying up to date with everybody in our network. So friends, family, co-workers, people that you consider your VIPs, giving them a call, shooting them a text, just making sure you're staying connected and staying top of mind there. But that is all I have for you guys. Today, we are joined by Nash Paradise. He is our director of sales here at UMortgage, and he absolutely crushes it. He is a numbers guy. He runs our Monday market update stream. He somehow knows like everything. I don't know how he does it. And today, maybe not everything, most things. That's fair. He is going to be sharing all about sales math, kind of putting some numbers behind your activities. But I don't want to give too much away. Nash, I'm going to hand it over to you to take it away.
Thank you, Kit. Yeah, that was like half of my presentation right there. So I appreciate you jumping in and getting me started. Thank y'all for having me. I do now have the chat up right in front of me. So please be involved. Get your pens and paper handy. We're going to be taking some notes. This content is not ultra revolutionary. This is not a bunch of new news. But what you write down, what you decide to take away, what you choose to put into action can make a huge impact on your business now going forward. And as we, especially being at the end of the year, are looking forward to growth in 26 and 27, it's good stuff. But I'm going to need your feedback in the chat. So don't leave me hanging or we will be done early. And then Caden will yell at me, and he may seem like a nice guy, but he's actually very, very mean sometimes. So let's get into it and get going. We're talking about sales math. What is sales math? Where do we start? Well, let's start with why sales math matters. If you don't know your math, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how much of something you need to be doing, and we wind up feeling busy. Feeling busy is very, very dangerous. Feeling busy makes you feel accomplished. It's getting all these little dopamine rushes, all these tiny wins, and then realizing, oh man, I don't have the production I want. I don't have the numbers that I'm looking for. I'm not hitting my thing, and I don't know why. So what do? We go out for more content. We get the tools and the tricks and the tips. How do I engage more buyers? How do I capture better social media marketing? How do I get 10,000 followers on TikTok? And we keep going through all the things, and we haven't realized that, oh man, I'm missing some of my foundational elements. I'm missing the stuff that I really need to build my business. So let's go to the start. And we're going to talk about 2 laws here. I got them at the bottom. And you got to agree with me on these. You have no choice. That's mandatory to be on this call. You have to agree with me on 2 things. One is the law of dependent events. A thing must happen before another thing can happen.
It'll pop off.
That's not really something that is up for interpretation here. You don't close a transaction without a offer. You don't get an offer without a buyer commitment. You don't get a buyer commitment without doing a sales presentation. You don't do a sales presentation without a lead. You don't get a lead without talking to people. Right? We're good. Yeah, you don't just show up at a closing on a Thursday without having ever met a person. And I know everyone's got some weird random one-off like, hey, this client just hit me up. They're already under contract. Yeah, cool. But we're talking about the sales process and your controllables. So first law of dependent events. One thing must happen before another thing can happen. The second, this is where people like fight me, it's the law of averages. This states that over a long enough term, you can look back and you have measurables. You have numbers, things that are within your control, things that you do. There is math here. There's the number of people you talk to directly correlates to the number of applications you get or the number of buyer presentations you run to the number of closings that you have. Everyone has your own math. So what can you control? What do you need to track? This is a good spot to use the comments section here and start throwing some things in. What do you believe you need to track? A lot of us track late. And tracking late, like you need the tracking, but if you're tracking your closed transactions, you're tracking how many buyer consultations you've done, you may not be going through to the kind of depth that you need. So what do we have from, we got leads, activities, calls, texts, meetings, realtor appointments. Cool. Love it. Thank y'all for jumping in. Let's hit on a couple things that we know we need to track. So we do need to track calls. How do you track your calls? What are your systems? That may even bring me into my next slide here. What are your systems? What are you using to track your stuff? Is it pen and paper? Are you using sticky notes? Do you have an Asana board? Are you using Google Sheets? Throw them in the chat. What are you using? I'd love to hear from some of the real estate agents we have on here. I know real estate agents tend to have some really cool built-in tech. Oh, look at all this Tempo. Yes, Tempo is UMortgage's proprietary system, CRM, lead tracker, relationship tracker. It is everything. It's a beast, but it only works like a beast if you feed the beast. So there's your daily reminder that if you're not using Tempo, you are hurting yourself. And I've seen some of the future updates, guys. It's filthy McNasty. You're gonna want to have your information in there. It's real good stuff. Pipe Drive. I don't know what Pipe Drive is, but it seems like something, for realtors. So I like that. So you got to have a system. I don't care what it is. Everyone talks about my system's the best. This is the most revolutionary thing. Yeah, whatever. If you work with it, it works. If you know your stuff, then it's going to be just fine. But you have to know your stuff. What are those processes of your process? What are the parts? Are you direct to consumer? Are you using social media? Are you going through, are you the admin of a neighborhood Facebook group? Do you spend time in the mom's club? What do you do to get in front of people? And are you actually measuring that? Are you measuring how many social posts are you making? How many TikTok videos are you posting? How many classes are you teaching? This should be part of your measurables. So one of the first takeaways, am I tracking my measurables? A lot of times we track results, which is that's the wrong way. Your results don't matter if you don't know what it takes to get the results. If you don't have your math, you're not going to know how to go from there. And this is a lot for the LOs on here. How often do you review your numbers? We're doing year-end reviews here at NXT Mortgage. We're going through and we're asking our loan officers, hey, tell me how many credit pulls, how many submissions. I got a sheet right here in front of me going credit pulls, pre-approvals, submissions, and fundings. Do you know how many loan officers have that information handy and it's correct? Very, very few. And they've been coached by us for years. These are non-negotiables for every business professional, every sales professional. What are your measurables and how often are you reviewing them? If it's just once a year in our annual look back, that's not often enough. You need to know, what are these things that are within your control? When are you tracking them? And how often do you go back and review and make changes? I'm going to give you some math here in a little bit. I want to talk about a sample set of 5 things that I believe most sales professionals in the real estate world could be using to go through. And I've got them here right in front of you on the slides. We've got talk tos, leads, meetings, submissions, and closings. So I'm going to call on someone because I want to, and Glenda White looks like she's eating right now, which is a perfect time to call on her. Glenda, why don't you swallow and unmute yourself?
Hi, Nash.
Hi, Glenda. Glenda's my old-time homie, which is why I can pick on her. So I want to talk about talk tos. What would you constitute as a talk to? What would you track as a talk to? What does talk tos mean to you in your world of business development?
My talk tos are text messages to build rapport. We have phone conversations to talk about strategies, obstacles, any of that, and then social media as well to gain if it goes to the next step of buying the house. So 3 different mediums for me as a talk to.
Okay. And how are you tracking those? You're using Tempo, of course, right?
I use Tempo and Google Sheets. Absolutely.
Okay. So I like to use Glenda as an example because Glenda's sales math is pretty low on the conversion ratios. Glenda has to talk to a lot more people than a lot of people do. Glenda saturates the market with amazing content and she posts a lot. And it may just be that Glenda is one of the few people that are accurately tracking because her ratios look lower than some of these other loan officers, but Glenda crushes them in production. She's one of the most successful LOs I've known for a really long time, and she absolutely kills it. So what is it when you're going through, obviously you have good tracking. We've talked about this in your year-end review. What do you take away when you see, your conversion ratios from talk tos to credit pulls and from credit pulls to pre-approvals, things like that?
What? That was not English for me. What
Yep.
was the question?
So how do you respond when you see your conversion ratios and you realize how many talk tos it takes for you to get a lead when we're going through like your year in review?
Yeah, so it's a couple things because I'm super heavy on classes. So most in the time, some of my longevity is 7, 8, 9 months later. So I have to have a dialed in tracking system. Like 3 that I closed this month, the first class was November last year. So to not have a system and process in place, that's going to just, again, I would lose a lot of that business. So if I have lower conversion, the front side, it will take longer, but then I have to know, is it a credit client? Is it a not ready? Do we have to get funds? So it coincides with each other on Tempo versus Google Sheets of what system and place they are in the process.
Love it. Okay, you can go back to eating, Glenda. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So what Glenda just demonstrated is she has a very clear accounting of her business. And that's probably the best way to put it. She knows where her business comes from. She knows that she's got, longer cycle times on the things that she does. And so therefore she has very organized follow-up. She knows it's going to take more touches. And because she's been doing this for a while at a high level, she does that consistently. And she knows she's got to do more talk tos, more classes, things like that, to get in front of more people and continue to grow her business, which is why she grew her business significantly this year from last year. But she has a pulse on her business. She's not just letting things come to her. She's not taking that dopamine rush and saying, oh, yeah, I had a great class. Look at all this impact I made. Now she's putting people in a follow-up system and making sure to stay engaged with them because it could be 6 months, 9 months, a year before she sees a return on that. And we as salespeople, we're not great at that. We follow up for a few weeks, follow up for a couple months, but my team knows one of my favorite sayings, the fortune is in the follow-up. Doesn't matter how great your sales presentation is, doesn't matter how great your initial calls are, your initial buyer presentation. People work with the people that they remember most recently. And that's an unfortunate part of sales because you could be a better salesperson than someone else they talk to 4 weeks from now. But if you're the one that's following up and staying in front of them, you're going to get the business. If you're not, and you're counting on them to remember the amazing things about you from a few weeks ago, you're setting yourself up for failure. I wanted to get one more example. My buddy Brian Cardenas. Why did you just turn off your camera, Brian? Is it because I was staring at you? Oh, did you just take off? That's really, really rude. You're looking right at me. I'll have to give him a hard time for that later. Okay, Brian. Yeah, Brian knew. Joe Bartram. I know Joe fairly well. We've worked together, been partners for like 14 years. Joe's got roughly 46 years of experience in the mortgage world.
What do you want?
Very, very seasoned. Very seasoned. Like, well done, loan officer.
What a jerk. What do you want?
Joe, same question as I was going through with Glenda. I want to know, what do your talk tos and measurables look like? How do you know what is a talk to, and how do you track it?
Talk tos are anytime that I'm trying to either engage to find more business. So if it's a past client that I'm talking to, I count that as a talk to. When it comes to maybe I'm looking for a refinance possibility, or if we just did a refinance, I'm talking to them about future referrals. That's a talk to me, because I'm trying to drive towards business. So that's how I track it, and I'm tracking it in tempo for my phone calls, my conversations, and then if I'm looking at adding referral partners and trying to strengthen my portfolio of real estate agents, then those are setting appointments is what I'm considering a talk to, or if they give me a note, my opportunity script, I will consider that a talk to, but it's not a good talk to. It doesn't drive more business.
I got it. And that was kind of the point I wanted to get to from there that you alluded to and got there as well, is when is a talk to not a talk to? When is a talk to not a measurable? What's the difference maker between a great phone call and just doing your business?
So you're asking me that question?
Yeah, I'm asking you that question. You've done this twice as long as any of us.
No, Brian Cardenas and I do it about the same amount of time. So, and
Yeah,
Jeff Lake. So we're all about the same. A regular talk to that I would not count is if I called up and I was just trying to see, if an agent wasn't feeling real well over the weekend or something, I was just calling to see how they're doing, just kind of, shooting the shit with them, crap with them, to, just strengthen more of a relationship part, but not driving for business. I call that just like a regular talk to, or if I'm out and about at a grocery store and I see people that are either real estate agents or past clients and I'm just talking to them in general, that's not a true talk to that I'm tracking, because I'm not trying to see if there's something else that I can provide, either an update on what's going on in the market for them. I'm not trying to generate any business. I'm not trying to do anything to get a referral. I don't count those as talk tos. I just count as being a human and having a conversation with a friend or somebody that I know.
Love it. Thank you, Joe. So the point that Joe made, I want to emphasize, because I'm spending a lot of time here focusing on the talk tos, is it's very easy to count things that don't count. Your talk tos that are your measurables advance the sales process. And this call isn't about the sales process. We've had a few on those, and we'll have a few more in the future. But if you're not moving the sales process forward, you're just doing maintenance. And it's important. Hey, this appraisal is in. Hey, following up with this buyer, did you get that care package I sent you? Do you have any questions on the documentation? Like, doing your job is doing your job. Running into people at the grocery store and being a human is being a human and being a kind person, but it doesn't advance the sales process. So one of the other takeaways I want you to have from this call is, am I just doing work, or am I advancing the sales process? Now, you don't have to always advance the sales process with everyone. That makes you a greedy commission breast salesperson, and that's not always appropriate for that time in there. But are you being a professional friend? Are you waiting and hoping that someone is giving you business without asking? I want everyone to be cognizant of that, because when you're tracking your numbers and you're trying to get to your sales math, you need to know, when am I trying to advance the sales process and when am I just doing some maintenance? So let's dive in deeper to the actual math. Using real numbers that U-Mortgage has collected, and this is talking about what we believe, how many talk tos it takes to get to a closing. Now, this is geared a little bit more towards a mortgage loan originator. It looks slightly different for a real estate agent, but at the end of the day, we're doing a lot of the same things. We have a different client set. We're looking for referral partners. You're typically looking for buyers or sellers. But this is very true. And the funny thing is the sales math on the left side. And if you want to write this down, take a screenshot of this, keep this handy. Like, you need to know your sales math, but the sales math that has been curated over decades and decades of sales professionals from different industries, different methods, different, it doesn't matter if you're selling mattresses, widgets, used cars, or homes. These numbers seem to coincide very, very closely. So I want to look at, what we assumed and then what were our actuals, because again, they were very close. For every 25 talk tos, and these are great phone calls, things that advance the sales process, we were averaging, 4.39 leads. System says you should be closer to about 5 leads off 25. They were close. We throw an extra identifier in there as a credit pull because we measure those. They're part of our measurables. But for you, you may go straight from I got a lead and now I'm doing a sales presentation. So about half of your leads should turn into sales presentations. For us, about 2.57% of ours turn into pre-approvals. And, again, that's consistent between both sides of, the individuals who are on this call. And from there, we measure locks. That could be, offers. That could be, deals under contract, something that's in the process and going. From your client presentations, for every 2.5 of those you do, 1.5 should turn into locks, and that turns into 1 closing. And ultimately, the big math we're looking for, the best measurable, is how many talk tos, how many times do I have to advance the sales process with someone to get 1 closing? If you know your numbers, you can plan your year, you can set your goals, you can have your measurables, and then you can create a simple, repeatable process. Glenda may need more talk tos. She could be up to 35 or 40, and yet she still closes more than a lot of people that need 16 or 17 because Glenda busts her ass and does the work, and she has a killer follow-up. So if yours is 10, 15, 20, cool. If it's 30, 40, 50, because you're going after a certain demographic or you're strictly using social media and not making enough phone calls, you need to know that. If you can't do an accounting and an audit on your business practices, you are liable to be stable. I did a lot of year-end reviews for real estate agents, my partners, and I'm talking with them and I'm getting how'd you do this year? Well, I closed 9 transactions. It's fantastic. How many are you planning on closing in 2026? Well, I'm going to do 18. That's a big goal, Silas. What are you doing different in 2026 to go from 9 to 18? Well, I expect with the next couple Fed meetings that we're going to get some lower interest rates. It's going to improve affordability. Okay, what are you doing differently to double your business next year? Well, lower interest rate. No, I get that answer more often than not. We plan for success. We set aggressive goals, but yet we don't take control over our controls. We don't know how many activities it's going to take to get there. That goal may be feasible, it may be not. But if you're setting your goals and doing your planning around things that are outside of your control, you're just hoping, wishing, and getting lucky. And that's not what elite salespeople do. And we're here to help everyone be elite. So what do? Well, we do our sales math. What's your annual income goal? What's your average commission per transaction? Everyone on here should know your average loan size. Real estate agents should know your average transaction size because these are measurables, and we believe in the law of averages for that last, 22 minutes anyway. You believe in it now. So you can figure out, based on your sales math, exactly what you need to do. You know exactly the number of closings. You multiply that by the number of talk tos. You divide that out by the number of weeks in the year, and now you've got a plan. Sounds easy, right? But here's the thing with sales math. We have to keep the flow, and the flow requires an extra step that a lot of us are skipping. We get our numbers, we set our goals, we establish a plan, but then we have to go back to the numbers. This is a constant circle. This is the circle of sales math. This is the circle of owning your business and setting you up to be elite. You have to go back after your plan and get back in the numbers. Are my numbers consistent? Am I tracking all the things? If you're not tracking these things, you're leaving it up to chance, and you may grow and you can be very successful without being good at doing your job. It's possible. I know some people, I used to be that guy, but we're not here to be mediocre and let things happen to us. We're here to go out and get our business. We set goals for our families. We have things that we want to accomplish, And with those goals, we have to put a plan into action. You need to know exactly what to do. When you can take that down to the lowest common denominator, which is how many people do I need to talk to, then you can plan your day, you can plan your week, and you can count on math. Math is a beautiful thing. And if you use it right, you can know exactly what it takes to get there. So let's summarize a few of these things and clean up the end of this with a question. Are you picking up crumbs? This is something Chris Vinson, the CEO of Windsor, shared the other day, and it really stuck with me because I realized I spent a lot of I've been doing this 20 years, about half as long as Joe, and I spend a lot of time picking up crumbs. I've got a very established book of business. I've got some great real estate partners. Picking up crumbs is when you're walking around, you see something, you just pick it up because it's right there in front of you. That's business that just shows up. I've got a good sphere of influence. I've got a great ethos. People just come to me, and I can pick it up and I can close a lot of business. Is that how you're treating your business, where you're just picking things up off the ground and taking care of them? Or are you going out and doing the work to build and grow for yourself? Another thing that I've learned a lot from our year-end reviews and our coaching sessions that we've done with loan officers is what looks like a to-do list, what looks like daily activities may actually be all reactions. I was reviewing with a top loan officer the other day, going through his task list and his to-do list. Everything was in response to a trigger. Client has a need. Cool, I'll do this. We went under contract. Great, I need to do these things. Appraisal came in. I got to call these agents. His entire task list was all trigger, response, trigger, reaction, trigger, reaction. There was no proactivity in there. That's a very common trap, and you can be very, very busy without being proactive. So I want to caution you, and your third takeaway here is what in my daily to-do list is proactive versus what is reactive. And even though it's stuff that has to be done, you do need to react to things. If that's all you're doing all day, all week, you're not going to grow. So your process, your controls. I got a little a little target here, and this is something that I've been doing. I've been in coaching for years and years and years. In fact, I've even got, I don't know if you can see because it's going to green screen me. Yep. I've got this little target on my desk, and it's something that's been in front of me since 2016 when I started coaching, and I grew my business from 20 million to 120 million in about 4 years. This was the biggest thing for me, was understanding what about the process I can control, what do I have influence over, and what do I have to accept. A lot of salespeople live in the accept and influence rings, and we don't spend enough time in the controllables. I don't have enough clients. I don't have enough business. I don't have enough contracts. You can control the phone calls you make. And, I'm not converting at a higher enough level. You can control your sales math. You can go and check your conversions and figure out, okay, how do I convert at a higher rate for my talk tos? What am I saying? Who am I going after? This is all about being in charge of your business, owning your day, owning your week, working your plan because you know your sales math and you know your numbers. So that concludes it from me. I'm happy to open up to any questions. If anyone has anything, I left a little bit of time here. Raise your hand, Kate will call on you, or you're welcome to use the chat. I can answer anything you'd like.
Ash, I'm not seeing anything pop up yet. You did such a good job of explaining everything. But if anybody has any questions like Nash said, raise your hand, put it in the chat, and we'll be sure to hit on this. Nash, going
Yes,
into
Kate.
end of the year, into 2026, any tip for people to make sure they're making the most of it?
I think my favorite tip, and this is both, this could be used for real estate agents or loan officers, do year-end reviews with your partners. If you're a real estate agent, engage your other friends who are real estate agents. If you're LO, you definitely need to be engaging your real estate agents. Most people don't know their conversions. They don't know their sales math. Do a SWOT analysis, SWOT. That's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We do this with all our LOs. I do it with all my referral partners. You need to take the time to analyze your year before you plan for your next year. Your goals are great, but your goals without a plan are just dreams. You really need to make sure that you've got the numbers, and that way you can establish that strategy. So help each other, lean into your friends. If you're a real estate agent on this call, you got a team, you got homies, you got business partners, you got an LO that you work with. Get together, put some time on the calendar, jump on a Zoom, and talk about your numbers. Figure out your measurables. Talk about what you're going to do to grow your business next year? Those are really great conversations to have. I've got to learn a lot about my partners with that, understand their goals and what they're trying to work towards. And I felt like that's added a lot of closeness and just community in my relationships. It's getting outside of business, but also doing the best things for the business. So if I could encourage you to do some year-end reviews and some goal setting and planning with people, it's just been really, really great to do that with my partners.
Perfect. And we have a question in the chat. Do we have a form for this to do with agents?
Probably. I mean, I've got one. So yes, thankfully Chris is on my team and he's right over there. I can see him, Chris. Yeah, I'll get with him. We probably need to clean one up. We've got one that mirrors our year interviews that we do with loan officers, and we've got one that we used last year for agents. So we'll get that shared out so it can be shared with everyone on the team. You know, but honestly, like, don't overthink it. We go through numbers, go through your SWOT, and then just have a conversation around goals. But yeah, we'll put some on paper for it.
Perfect. And one last question before you let you go. Joe asked in the chat, when is the best time to ask for referral business?
Depends on who we're talking to. I'm not going to say it's not. As a loan originator, I'm very passionate about this. You shouldn't ask this question, Joe, because it's going to ruffle some feathers. The best time for loan officers to ask for referral business is at the clear to close. That's all about you. That's your celebration. It's exciting. That's the time. Make it about you because it's about you. You just did your job. You got it done. And everyone is very open to talking at that point. It's not at the closing. At the closing, it's about the real estate agent. It's about the buyer. You kind of take a step back, let everyone get ready, plan for their move, and do those things. So I always feel like as a loan originator, the best time to ask for referrals is at the CTC. When I'm coaching real estate agents, though, the best time to ask for referrals, it is actually kind of every time. And, you know, the best way to ask is, who do you know? Not, do you know anyone? Not, hey, if there's ever anyone you can think of buying or selling, the greatest compliment you can give is no, stop doing that. That's terrible. It's bad sales. I'm sorry, Buffini. I like you, but no, that's bad. Who do you know that, boom, fill in a blank, fill in a bucket. Make it easy for people to refer you business. Who do you know? And anytime you've done something effective, anytime someone's trying to show gratitude, let them know. What I really need is more people to help. Who do you know that blank? That's my favorite time to ask for referrals.
Love it. Perfect. Well, Nash, that is all we have for today. We appreciate you sharing all that with us, and I appreciate every single person for joining today's call and all of them in the future. Like I said, we do Partner Thursdays every single Thursday, so if you want to come back, I'm sure your LO will reach out to you and give you that invite. But that's all we have for today. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.